I'll begin with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadadi Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, sixth chapter, verse number 24 today. Yesterday, His Grace Panduranga Gopal Prabhu read from text 23. So continuing to 24. Matirmai nibadheyam na vipadyeta karhichet praja sarga nirodhe api smritischa mad anugrahat. मतिर्मयि निबद्धेयं न विपद्येत कर्हिचित् प्रजासर्ग निरोधे अपि समृतिश्च मद अनुग्रहात्. Synonyms, that is word to word meaning. Mati, intelligence. Mai, devoted to me. Nibaddha, engaged. Iyam, this. Na, never. Vipadyeta, separate. Karhichit, at any time. Praja, living beings. Sarga, at the time of creation. Nirodhe, also at the time of annihilation. Api, even. Smriti, remembrance. Cha, and. Mat, mine. Anugrahat, by the mercy of. Translation. Intelligence engaged in my devotion cannot be thwarted at any time, even at the time of creation as well as at the time of annihilation. Your remembrance will continue by my mercy. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Devotional service rendered to the personality of Godhead never goes in vain. Since the personality of Godhead is eternal, intelligence applied in his service or anything done in his relation is also permanent. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that such transcendental service rendered unto the personality of Godhead accumulates birth after birth, and when the devotee is fully matured, the total service counted together makes him eligible to enter into the association of the personality of Godhead. Such accumulation of God's service is never vanquished, but increases till fully matured. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadadi Swapadantikam. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? So, we'll begin with the verse itself, the translation, we can see that this is Krishna speaking, and this is one of the um, things that came to my mind is that, or rather, when I was researching this verse, and one of our spiritual masters, what he pointed out is that this is also the absolute truth or the personality of Godhead speaking. And here he's speaking just like he speaks in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. So the personality of Godhead speaking here, and he's saying, he's telling Narada Muni that intelligence engaged in my devotion, that is in his devotion, cannot be thwarted at any time, even at the time of creation as well as at the time of annihilation. And your remembrance will continue by my mercy, that is by the Lord's mercy. So a few points to be pointed out between the translation and the purport. So that what the Lord, or rather what Srila Prabhupada is saying in the purport, the first point is that the transcendental service accumulates birth after birth. So in the second half of the purport, Prabhupada is saying, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that such transcendental service rendered unto the personality of Godhead accumulates birth after birth. And when the devotee is fully matured, the total service counted together makes him eligible. So I was trying to look up where where in the Bhagavad Gita the Lord is saying that. And in chapter 6, through a series of verses, I will not recite the Sanskrit, but I'll go through the translation. Chapter 6, text number 40 through 45. The Lord is saying, or Krishna is saying, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Son of Pritha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. Text 41. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Text 42. Or, parenthesis, if unsuccessful after long practice of yoga, close parenthesis, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly, such a birth is rare in this world. Text 43. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Kuru. Text 44. By virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles, even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. And finally, text 45. And when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed of all contaminations, then ultimately achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. So it was very nice to connect this, what Srila Prabhupada is saying, that service rendered unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the Absolute Truth accumulates birth after birth, and when the devotee is fully matured, the total service counted together makes him eligible to enter into the association of the Personality of Godhead. So we can see here that Krishna is speaking to Narad Muni in this way. So it can be inferred that in in that particular birth, Narad Muni is not completely matured yet. I mean, this is according to our acharyas and other spiritual masters who have given their the lectures on this verse. But to encourage Narada Muni, he is saying that having once seen me, your desire will intensify. So the Lord is telling Narad Muni that you have seen me once, and that's all. You won't be able to see me again. However, having seen me once, your desire will intensify, and consequently, desire to what kind of desire? It is the spiritual desire, or the desire of devotional service. And when the devotional service desire for devotional service increases, the material desires automatically fade. So that is given. Next point that I would like to make here is what drives the conditioned soul. So we see that we are all conditioned. At least I am definitely conditioned. And what is driving everyone? There is something that is driving everyone to continue going on, to continue doing things. So we can clearly understand that it is the fruitive activities or the fruitive mentality that continues to drive us, and that I want to achieve this. Once I achieve that, my next goal is that, and once I get that, maybe this and that, and so on, so on. And it continues to evolve. The desires and the fruitive activity continue to evolve and get more and more. And there was an interesting point I heard is that due to these fruitive activities, our mind gets colored. So I talked about this colored water a few weeks back, that conditioning means colored water. And it was interesting to hear that due to our fruitive activities, our mind is getting colored. And therefore, what we desire is also colored. And what kind of desires do we have? It can be broadly classified into bhukti, mukti, and maybe siddhi also. However, when we see that bhukti, mukti, siddhi, they kind of unsettle us or make us unsteady. Here, we what the Supreme Lord is telling Narad Muni is that intelligence engaged in my devotion cannot be thwarted at any time. So this means that intelligence is fixed, or fixed intelligence, the smriti or mati is is fixed. And drida mati is a word that I heard. Drida mati, or drida, fixed intelligence. How to get that? Because fruitive activities is very fluctuating. It fluctuates every now and then. For example, just like I said, when I want to achieve this, and then my next goal is that, and then something else. Okay, and so it continuously fluctuates, and it's not constant, or it's not fixed. However, to get a fixed intelligence, uh, bhakti, or the devotion, is the only process. Intelligence engaged in my devotion and cannot be thwarted. So it's being guaranteed by the Lord himself. And the Lord himself gives this intelligence to the souls devoted to him. And that is his mercy, which is what he's saying in the second part of the translation. Your remembrance will continue by my mercy. And he says that even at the time of creation, as well as at the time of annihilation, your remembrance will continue by mercy. So again, this is also confirmed by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. in the Chatur Shloki, chapter 10, 10.10 and 11. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Translation: to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. And 10.11, Tesham evanu kampartham aham ajnanajam tamaha nashyami atma bhavastho jnana deepena bhasvata. Translation is, to show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So it's very nice to see that how these the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam connect so nicely to the verses in the Bhagavad Gita, where again Krishna is saying, is also the speaker and is speaking to Arjuna. Therefore, we can conclude that the real intelligence is to align our tiny little will to the Lord's will. And when Krishna gives the intelligence and mercy, nothing can check it. That's the conclusion of this verse. Now we can see that our tiny little will. So because we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord has unlimited willpower. He can just think, contemplate, just he doesn't have to do anything and it happens. And his will is executed. And being part and parcel of that Supreme Lord, a very, very tiny little fraction, we also have a little bit of tiny amount of free will. And because it's a free will, it is free will itself means that we are free to execute it the way we want. And the real intelligence is to align that tiny little will to that of the Lord's will. Otherwise, it's the same thing, bhukti, mukti, siddhi. That's the business that we are after. Because to go after that bhukti, mukti, siddhi, we have to execute our free will and to desire to be able to engage in the devotional service. That's also needs our free will. So it's our choice, and that making the right choice is in our hands, or executing our little free will. And here it's confirmed that when we actually align our will to the Lord's will, then the Lord gives us the intelligence and mercy, both. So smriti, or remembrance, and mati, or intelligence, they both come with our sincerity and causeless mercy. So sincerity and causeless mercy. So we already, Lord is already talking about mercy. When we get His mercy, then it goes unchecked, which means that our devotional service goes unchecked. Nothing can check it. And it's interesting to see that it will come with our sincerity and causeless mercy. So sincerity is also required. Sincerity means executing our free will in the right direction. That is the sincerity. When we say I'm sincere or someone is sincere, sincere means what? Sincere means they have executed their free will, or they have aligned themselves to the Lord's will. And that's when we can see that nothing can check it. When we say nothing can check it, it means that none of the material impediments can check it. And we can practically see that with examples. A very good example that I've been contemplating, and that's in front of us right now. We have all been affected by this current situation, the coronavirus situation, which has impeded impeded us in so many different ways, unthinkable. For example, somebody has lost his job, somebody is finding it difficult to do things that they were doing, somebody is finding mental challenges, somebody is having stressful life, somebody is enjoying this period. So all these different kinds of uh, results have occurred because of this coronavirus situation. But we can see people, or to be specific, our spiritual masters, they, for them it's unchecked, which means that what their service was and is completely unchecked. They continue to do what they were doing. In fact, uh, His Holiness Ramapad Maharaj quite often said that it's even better that earlier um, he only a few participants were able to engage in the lectures, and now we are seeing that 50-70 people join the lectures, and over a period of time there are so many x number of views, and it's increasing. And no matter what the situation was, his service did not stop. And it's the same thing with other Maharajas also, like Balram Prasad Prabhu was saying, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. He's also continuing to do and reaching out to devotees on Zoom and doing his service. And in fact, we have practically seen that the services have increased, and the current situation, the material situation posed by the three modes of material nature has no effect whatsoever on the services that they are doing. That is the power of devotional service, or getting above, or um, not associating with the three modes and being in the transcendental situation. So with that, I would like to quickly recap. I said that we were able to connect the verse with Bhagavad Gita, where the transcendental service is accumulated birth after birth, and when it matures, the total service counted together makes him eligible to enter into the association of the personality of Godhead. So we read from Bhagavad Gita 6.40 to 45, where Krishna is saying the exact same thing. And here Prabhupada is making it even better, that at the end of that mature state, we are eligible to enter into the personal association of the personality of Godhead. How wonderful is that? And then we talked about um, Lord telling Narad Muni that having once seen me, the reason why he gives his appearance to Narad Muni and then not anymore in that particular lifetime is to intensify his desire, and consequently the material desires fade. Then next we talked about the conditioned soul. What's driving the conditioned soul? It is the material desires to achieve, to get things, and basically the fruitive activities, bhukti, mukti, siddhi, etc. However, we also talked about, to make the intelligence perfect and remembrance constant, we need two things: our sincerity and the causeless mercy. And we also connected that with the Bhagavad Gita 10.10 and 10.11, where Krishna is saying that same thing. Therefore, one important thing to take away from this verse is the importance of our sincerity, and then consequently depend on the causeless mercy of the Lord. With that, I stop. I have just a few minutes, and I invite discussions, if any. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for so beautifully explaining that. Just appreciation from your questions. Just um, uh, inspired by the way you connected devotional services unchecked to the current situation. I mean, we keep hearing that, but hearing it and then seeing it in the case of our spiritual masters, how it's we can see that it's unchecked. So that's really inspiring and very practical to see. And the other point you mentioned about this unsteady, I think it's a point of contemplation for me. You mentioned when we have these material desires, our intelligence becomes unsteady, and that's how we keep going in that cycle. And on the other hand, the way to come out of these all these bhukti mukti, these desires, is to have that undivided or fixed intelligence. So I was just thinking it's kind of a feeding the cycle itself. So just thinking about it, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji, for so nicely summarizing everything.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my
Hare,
observations.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Please accept mine too. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Your questions are or comments are very difficult, but go ahead.
No, Prabhu. I was. It was very nice to hear about the aspect of intelligence and how Krishna helps us. You have connected it with the tenth chapter of Bhagavad Gita. I always have this question, Prabhu. There are two things which we read about intelligence. I mean, broadly. One is Prabhupada mentions at many places about using intelligence in Krishna's service, like these verses. And then there is another reference of intelligence which comes as a material element from the creation. Like, sometime back there was a discussion in this group on how false ego in connection with passion generates intelligence. So I was trying to understand what is the. I mean, are they same, that we use the material intelligence and in Krishna's service and it becomes spiritual, or is there some difference between these two?
Like I said, your question was expected to be difficult. Um, uh, if anybody has answer to this, please feel free to answer. I can attempt. So the intelligence that we have is also, like you said, it's in the mode of passion, and mind is in the mode of goodness. That was kind of a surprising thing for everyone, mentioned in, I think, third canto by Kapil Dev. And intelligence is what drives the mind. Mind is simply making decisions, and intelligence is the closest to the false ego, and also to the false ego is closer to the soul. And at the soul platform, when we have this desire that I want to do something, that same intelligence helps us go in the material direction. And that same intelligence can be dovetailed to 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 do our sadhana bhakti. And at some point, I'm pretty sure I know that we have spiritual intelligence also. We have spiritual senses, we have a spiritual body, but I'm not sure whether that spiritual senses are coming, spiritual intelligence is coming and acting at that point, or it's the material intelligence. In my understanding, it's still the material intelligence is being dovetailed and is used in Krishna's service. And when we actually reach that state, the state when we get the mercy, that's when we get the spiritual intelligence. That's my understanding, but somebody, whoever has more understanding, please feel free to chime in.
Pratibahu, Sri Vallabhadar here, and Sri Kishore Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances.
Please accept mine to all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you very much, Pratibahu Prabhu. I think you explained it very well. All I can do is, based on my understanding, I can add just a few more points. So one is, when Sri Kishore Prabhu, when your iPhone or your phone discharges, phone is completely dead and out of charge, what do you do?
Charge it.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
you charge it. You connect it to the socket
Power.
end.
Power socket. Yeah.
And that's how the source of energy is, right? So the moment that happens, a dead phone, which otherwise contains all of your contacts, your notes, your data, and everything else, comes to life. Similarly, we have material intelligence, but it's dead. It's only, it's temporary. Whatever we have is going to dissipate. But as Pratibha who clearly said, right, this is something that we have to acquire, with it's knowledge that we have to acquire, and that is the buddhi yoga. That is the strife that we have to put in terms of the end, and that buddhi yogam yena mam upayanti, right? Dadasi buddhi yogam yena mam upayanti. So Krishna gives us that intelligence, and that intelligence is the spiritual intelligence. It awakens and helps our intelligence to transcend beyond these modes of material nature, right? So our material intelligence is then elevated to a different platform through that connection. And what is that connection? It starts with faith. It starts with our sincerity. It starts with our knowledge about who Krishna is and our relationship to Krishna. So that's why the Veda, the scriptures are so beautifully put together in terms of these. It all boils down to those three things, right? So we have that Sambandha Yoga. First of all, we need to understand who we are and what is our relationship, and then comes everything else, Avideya and then Pravajna, right? So all that has to follow in sequence, and that happens through this strong faith that Krishna is the way to go. When we have that strong faith, we don't have to worry about anything else. And that faith, when you acquire the spiritual knowledge through this, the bona fide spiritual master, and then in serving that spiritual master unflinchingly, then that is what is Vyavasa. Oh God, my mouth is not working.
Vyavasat.
Vyavasa
Sit.
Atmik Buddhir, right?
Yeah, Vyavasaya.
That is the fixed intelligence that Krishna talks about in 41. Once we have that, then automatically our intelligence is elevated to a point that we don't have to worry. We are in close control. Krishna is different. He is directing our life. He's moving and rearranging the material energy around us. He is then giving us the powers to actually, the free will and the powers to be able to, or rather, he's empowering us to be able to convert and translate the material intelligence into spiritual intelligence. That's the Buddhi Yoga. That's when we start seeing the results.
Thank you, Prabhu. That makes things very clear, actually. Thanks a lot for that. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Sri Vallabha Prabhu and Sri Kishore Prabhu. Okay, so if we don't have any more discussions or questions, we can end here. We are 5 minutes past. Thank you very much. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you.